So I'm here with David Cush, the CEO of Virgin America. We're going to be talking about the airline and specifically the Washington National Perimeter Rule, which they're opening up some new slots at National, and Virgin America wants to fly there. So can you give us some background on the Perimeter Rule and why Virgin America wants to fly to DC?
Well, first of all, what the perimeter rule is, it bars flights beyond 1,250 miles from operating out of National Airport, and it was really put in place primarily to help develop Dulles Airport when Dulles Airport was built. And number two, in all honesty, 30 years ago it was very difficult to have an aircraft that could actually fly too much further than that out of National because of the short runway. Of course, technology's changed since then, so you can fly transcons with narrow-body aircraft. So that's what the perimeter rule is. Up to now, there have been 12 beyond perimeter exemptions that have been allocated to airports and to airlines. Unfortunately, out of those 12, only one come to California and none of them to San Francisco. So it's been a very inequitable allocation of these very scarce resources.
Now you fly right now to Dulles. Why do you need to fly to National?
Well, you know, they're really two very different markets. If you look at the Dulles market, that's a very tech-centered market, a bit of defense, and also obviously focused on Northern Virginia. If you look at DCA, it's a very different market. So anyone who's doing business on Capitol Hill, anyone who's doing business on K Street, or anywhere else in the heart of the city, it saves them roughly 75 minutes of commute time and a lot of uncertainty. You never know how long it's going to take to get to Dulles. Generally got a pretty good idea to Reagan National. So it basically serves a market that is very difficult to serve right now from California.
And among San Francisco companies, who are the ones that you see benefiting from this?
Well, really everyone. You know that everyone's got business on Capitol Hill. And when you look at the Bay Area economy, you look at the traditional economy, which is a lot of finance-driven economy and everything in the city itself. They obviously have a lot of business on the Hill. But then when you look at the growth part of the economy and what is really the global growth engine is all of the tech businesses here in the Silicon Valley. And I don't know of any sector of the economy that has more important issues in the tech sector when it comes to Capitol Hill, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's privacy issues or anything else. So when the tech companies here want to go to Washington to have the dialogue they should have with Washington in guiding policy, they have to fly into Dulles and take that extra 75 to 90 minutes in each direction. So it basically puts them at a disadvantage to other tech bases, be it Dallas, Texas, or Chicago, or wherever else, is that tech companies based here in the Bay Area are put at a disadvantage.
Okay, they're opening up 4 new round trips from National to new markets beyond the perimeter. Why should San Francisco be one of those markets?
Well, San Francisco should be one of those markets, and I would argue that San Francisco should get at least half of the frequencies. In fact, I would argue that all of those frequencies should go to California. That if you look at Los Angeles and San Francisco, they are by far the largest markets into Washington. San Francisco has no service directly into National. LA has one. So if you go in and you just run the numbers based on what the customer demand is, in my opinion, half of the frequencies should go to San Francisco, half to Los Angeles, and then we're still underserved markets. So I'm pretty confident San Francisco will get, certainly the United frequency they've already decided, probably one more, but in all honesty, San Francisco should have, 4 flights a day international. The numbers justify it.
And why should that be on Virgin America?
Well, 2 things. One is we obviously provide a lot of price competition when we go into markets. That fares generally drop by 20 to 30%. Most recently, if you look at DFW and Chicago, 2 markets that we went into, fares dropped by 30% in each market. So that's important, is price competition that you are going to get from the legacy carriers. Second one is a product. The product is a very different product. It's built around entertainment. It's built around staying connected. And very simply, with our product, especially for business travelers who are going to Washington, we can make the time pass a little bit more pleasantly and productively.
Okay. Why is the perimeter rule still in place? It's been on the books for, I think, at least 30 or 40 years. The technology's bypassed it. Why do we still have the government regulating what airlines can fly when and to where?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think as much as we talk about this being a deregulated industry, it's still one of the most heavily regulated industries there is. So the government has its fingers in a lot of different aspects of it. I would say probably two reasons. One is there still is some view that Dulles needs some protection. I don't necessarily believe that's the case, but that view is held out there. The second thing probably has to do more with noise. That it is a airport that is very convenient, but is also located near very influential people's homes. We look at Fairfax County and everywhere else. So I think part of it comes down to the noise footprint, the environmental impact. And, in all honesty, I've got to say, going from 12, which is what we have today, to 20, which is what we'll have after this new law has finally been put into effect, is a nice step. So we ought to take it step by step.
Okay. Now, one of the things I noticed when I looked at the schedule that United proposed for their flights, it seems very much designed for people who live in D.C. It's not really the best schedule for people who are living in San Francisco looking to get out to D.C. for meetings. Would the Virgin America schedule be more designed for people out of San Francisco?
Yeah, our schedule will definitely be designed for San Francisco point of origin. So you'll see certainly a morning departure out of here, which United's schedule is not offering. And a convenient evening return from Washington after the day's business. So ours will be built on the local market. I think United's is probably built a little bit more toward Asian connections.
Okay. Anything else I should know about the perimeter rule?
No, it's an exciting opportunity for the people of San Francisco. We're working with a lot of the local companies and a lot of the local politicians to support the area. In all honesty, part of it is about Virgin America getting some of these frequencies. We're certainly very interested in serving the market. But the other thing is really curing a historic injustice to California and to Northern California in particular. These are by far the largest markets beyond the perimeter, and they're completely unserved because of the way the legislation has been written in the past. So we have an opportunity to right 30 years of poor policy.
Now, how soon would Virgin America be able to start this if you were to get approval on this route?
Certainly by this summer.
Okay. And if somebody's watching this and wants to express their opinion, is there a mechanism for them to do that?
Write your local congressman.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.